Okay, thank you again to everyone for joining us. Happy Best Buddies Leadership Conference Week. This is one of our, as a staff, this is definitely one of our favorite weeks of the year. And we are so excited to get started this morning. So, like I said, the state meeting, this is really a time where we can just come together just as a state, as Texas, and just hear from our staff members, learn about what each of our programs has going on. I love the state meeting because we have so many different stakeholders here with us. We've got a lot of our chapter leaders, we've got ambassadors, board members, and volunteers and community leaders all on this call with us, as well as the entire Best Buddies in Texas staff. So it's just a great time for us to all come together and get to interact with each other. So just a little introduction into BBLC. If you guys haven't been before, typically we have BBLC at Indiana University in Indiana, and we're all together, not only with our Texas delegation, but with all of the other Best Buddies states and countries. So what's really awesome about Leadership Conference, and one of the things that I love, is that especially for you guys that are our chapter leaders, you kind of think of Best Buddies in the scope of it's my school club, it's here on my campus, I love to do it, it's another activity for me to do. But sometimes what you guys don't understand is that Best Buddies is an international organization, and we've got programs all across the globe. So you guys are going to get to hear more about our different unique programs as we go through this meeting. But I did want to help you guys understand a little bit of the global impact of Best Buddies before we hop into our call. So Best Buddies has programs in all 50 states. And we're also in 56 countries across the globe. In total, we have almost 2,500 school friendship chapters across the globe. And we also have over 1,500 participants employed through the Best Buddies Jobs program. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear about the jobs program here in Texas from our awesome staff and hear about what we're doing. But that's what BBLC is you guys get to understand not just what we've got going on here in Texas or even in the continental US. You guys get to hear about all of the amazing things that are happening across the globe, and you guys get to interact with other volunteers, other chapter leaders from all over the US and all over the world. So even though this is a virtual conference this year and we're not all together in person, there are so many ways to connect with other volunteers and stakeholders through our virtual conference. So there's peer-to-peer roundtable sessions that I hope you guys have signed up for, where it's more conversational. You guys get to hear from other chapter leaders or other community leaders or ambassadors. And there's also a lot of, if you guys have looked at the virtual platform, you guys can see everyone else's social media handles. There's a chat function where you can reach out to other people. So I really encourage everyone to utilize that function of the platform so that you guys get to interact with everyone else that is a Best Buddies leaders. So we are going to jump right in, and I'm going to turn it over to Kristin Moore and Katieboone, who are going to speak to us today about their Friendship Through Our Citizens program.
Hi, thanks Allie for letting us join you guys today, and thanks everyone for letting us talk about our friendship with you guys this morning. I'm Kristin, obviously, and you were just talking, Allie, about the global impact of Best Buddies, and that got me excited because I started my time with Best Buddies in Tennessee, and then I moved to Texas and got to get involved with the Junior Advisory Board, which was a great way to stay connected with Best Buddies and also get to help be an ambassador for Best Buddies and get to advocate for Best Buddies in my community. And so being on the Junior Advisory Board has been an amazing experience. I've gotten to practice some event planning skills, gotten to do a little bit of project management, practice what it means to be an awesome volunteer, and I've gotten to meet some really awesome people from around the North Texas area that are just as passionate about Best Buddies as I am. So it's been an awesome experience for me so far. And I'm going to turn it over to my buddy, Katie, which has been my favorite part thus far about being on the JAB, is that I got an opportunity to be matched. And so I'm going to turn it over to my buddy, Katie, to introduce herself too.
Hi, I'm Katieboone, and what I'm looking forward to, because I signed up for the ambassador program in February, so we haven't had much of a chance because of COVID.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to telling people what Best Buddies is about, how awesome it is, leadership skills, and interaction with people like me who are on the autism spectrum and other special needs, because I have trouble interacting with people who are my own age, um, that don't have special needs, and it's just kind of hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're going to be an amazing ambassador, Katie. I already know that Katie is so passionate about Best Buddies, and she's so obviously so excited and so good at putting things into words and being a good advocate for other people. So I think Best Buddies is really lucky to have you on the team and on the front line, Katie. And so that's who we are. That's how Katie and I are involved with Best Buddies. And we just wanted to spend a few minutes sharing with you guys too about our friendship and why it's been so meaningful to us. So we just got paired earlier this year. And so our friendship is kind of new, but we hit it off immediately. And so it kind of feels like we've been friends for years. We got paired earlier this year. We got to meet on Zoom first, and realized in about 3 minutes that we had just about everything in common. So we are both gluten-free, which makes eating out very easy. We both love true crime, which makes picking a movie really easy. We both love dogs, and we both love to go on walks. And so it makes hanging out super easy because we kind of love all of the same things. So those are some awesome parts of a great friendship. But also I will say Katie is just a really great listener. She's very encouraging. She knows a ton of amazing and random facts about history and true crime that I would never have learned without her. So I'm getting to learn a lot from her, just about all that she knows and her life experiences. And we're having a really fun time. I think Katie wants to share a few things too, and maybe even what we get to do on Friday.
So what Kristin said, we're both gluten-free. We both love dogs and crime shows and true crime, and we both love musicals. And so Friday night we are going to go see Matilda at the Firehouse Theater in Farmers Branch. I'm very excited about that. Also, her mom teaches self-defense and my mom teaches yoga.
Yeah.
And they're both about, taking care of yourself and being mindful of your surroundings and everything.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. What are we doing before Matilda?
Oh, we're gonna go eat burgers at Twisted Root,
burgers.
and because they now have gluten-free burger buns.
Katie and I are always on the hunt for the best gluten-free burger in Texas. So please message us your recommendations. We would love to hear them. So Katie, anything else that you want to add about being paired or best buddies?
I'm really enjoying it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been amazing. We have had such a blast. Both, I know Katie getting to learn about what it'll be like to be an ambassador, and me getting to be on the JAB. And then I think the icing on the cake for both of us is getting to be paired and have this awesome friendship where we have a ton in common and get to learn from each other. And so it's been such an awesome experience, and we could not love Best Buddies more. So thank you so much for letting us come and talk with you guys for a few minutes this morning. And like we said, send us your burger recommendations.
Thank you for letting us talk.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
And I think, am I passing it over to you, Allie, or to Linda?
Yeah, I'll take over and then I can pass it off to Linda. But I just wanted to thank both of you guys for speaking with us this morning. Also, I've seen Matilda and I love it so much. I saw it in New York like many years ago. So I hope you guys have so much fun.
Awesome. Can't wait. Thank you.
Okay, and so yes, I will now pass it off to our leadership team.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Allie. And Kristin and Katie, what a way to start our meeting. Oh my gosh, the pure joy that is exuding from both of you. I just want to turn that on and take it in every single day, because that's just so inspiring for us to continue our mission when we see it live and in person like that. So thank you both for sharing your joy with us today. Greetings, everybody. I am Linda Kordek-Milton, the very proud state director of Best Buddies here in Texas. And this marks my 2-year anniversary because Leadership Conference 2 years ago was like my 3rd day on the job. And it has been just a phenomenal journey to work with this team, to see how Texas grows, and to share all the excitement that has happened because of a pandemic, but also seeing the incredible leadership from each of you who have joined us here at this leadership conference. So with that, I would also like to just note the rest of my leadership team. There is Kimberly Bush is our area director in Houston, also here for 2 years. And then Jessica Patton is our director of programs out of Austin, 11 years with Best Buddies, yay Jessica. And then Thomas Moore, our deputy director of operations, who has been 4 years with Best Buddies. So we're just really grateful. I am really grateful for this leadership team, for our staff, and for also, we have some advisory board members that have joined our call. So if you want to click your camera for a second and wave hello, I want to do a great, wonderful Best Buddies welcome to advisory board member Chris Bolt, who's been with us for over a year, Millicent Boykin, who has been here for 1,000,000 years, and you'll see her later today on some of our DEI conversations. Brittany Wynn from Texas Legends has been with us for about a year. Jeremy Criswell is our buddy ambassador who's been with us, I don't know, since the beginning of time. Jeremy is great. He's one of our super ambassadors from the SMU chapter and has just been a great voice for our advisory board. And Kristin, thank you so much for being part of our junior advisory board. So just to let you know a few things that have happened, I looked back at my notes from when we had this conversation last year, and it's amazing to see where we've come, because our notes last year, my notes last year said, talk about what it's going to be with the uncertainty of having to do virtual learning, and what is the pandemic doing to us, and how are we going to continue our mission. And look where we are. Look at the silver linings, from uncertainty to connectedness. We had talked about remote engagement. In fact, we applied for a grant to help support remote engagement, to work with our areas that are further away from our metroplexes. And that kind of kept getting put on the back burner. And then all of a sudden we had to do it. And now it's normal. So that's just one of the most amazing things, because everything we do now, as we're getting back in person, can also have this virtual element to it, so that we can continue to engage statewide. In fact, the best example, I think, of that was when we did our Back to Best Buddies in January for our virtual training. We had 175 participants, 175 of you amazing student leaders from Lubbock, from Abilene, from Austin, Waco, College Station, and even the Rio Grande Valley. I mean, that was just tremendous. So we're really excited to be able to engage so much more of this very large, amazing state. Another silver lining, we implemented a great statewide approach to programs. We had to. These are just things that came up, like, how are we going to do this? So our friendship team has been working very closely and has been able to work and take different sections of our friendship program. Our ambassador program, the same thing. Our jobs program has been collaborating, even though we're in different cities. And so this statewide approach to programs has again strengthened our team. It's made us very even more collaborative, and it's just been a tremendous opportunity. We've also had an intentional focus on our ambassadors program, which is part of our leadership pillar, and also Best Buddies 360. And our teams are going to talk more about that later, but you know, really this Best Buddies 360, which is everything from friendship through elementary school, high school, college, and then on to our transition programs, and then being a direct pipeline into our jobs program. You chapter leaders here, you are the employers of tomorrow. And you are currently realizing our vision of inclusion, and imagine what happens when you realize that vision of inclusion in the workplace. So we are so excited that you are all here. And then finally, the most exciting news that some of you may have seen on social media, This, as you may know, Texas legislative session meets every 2 years, and Best Buddies is very fortunate to receive funding from the Texas Education Association that helps support the costs of running our friendship program. Well, this year we had a last minute idea to reach out to ask for an increase in funding, and it came through. So they doubled our funding for our friendship program through the Texas Education Association, and it is allowing us to expand our programs into Central Texas. So we are currently in the process of looking for an area director and also a program manager of mission expansion. And they will be joining our director of programs, Jessica, who's already in Austin. And so if you know of anybody, if you're talking to people who have graduated from colleges that have been involved with our Best Buddies program and they want to move to Austin, let them know about these opportunities, and just know that Best Buddies mission of expansion is really growing in leaps and bounds. So those are my comments. I want to send this over to Kimberly Bush so that she can tell you some more of our highlights and successes from this past year.
Thanks, Linda. Hey, Texas. I've missed all you guys so much. I'm so happy like everybody's on here today. I celebrated my 2-year anniversary just a month ago, so I have been here exactly 1 month longer than Linda. Although a lot of you know that I've been around for longer with the volunteers and stuff like that. And so I'm area director for Houston, and I was covering Central Texas, but now there is going to be a new area director for Central Texas we're excited about. I'm going to just talk about some of our highlights and successes that we've done in the last year. I never thought 12 months later we'd be virtual still, and that we'd still be talking about virtual events. But we were really successful this last year in Texas. We've done some great things. After we came off of our virtual walk last year that we all had to shift to, we went into the fall in Houston. We had our gala still, but it was virtual, but we did a really fun thing. We made our Houston Gala a Champion of the Year event, which a lot of other areas in the country do. So I had 7 champions or champion teams that were supporting Best Buddies and inclusion in the Houston area. And they did a great job of raising money in a virtual world. It was really fantastic. We had some other great things in the fall. We did a partnership with Chevron during National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Say that 5 times fast. But we had a great series with some of our jobs participants, and we partnered with Chevron, and it was phenomenal. We also did some things with our ambassadors and some jobs participants with BNY Mellon here in Houston. So those were all really successful virtual events. We had a virtual friendship ball. We had our normie screenings in Dallas and in Houston that were in person, but socially distanced. And they were great. We had great turnout. It was a lot of fun for everybody. We were not able to be completely in person for our walks this spring. However, we had hybrid walks in all 3 areas. All 3 areas were very successful. North Texas, Houston, Central Texas. Everybody came out. We had our drive-thrus, and it was so much fun. And we were really successful in meeting our goals. And we have a really cool thing here in Houston. We have a new program manager of community engagement, Victoria. If y'all haven't met her, she's been great here. Just hit the ground running here in Houston. There's Victoria. So she's joined Joaquin in North Texas as being community engagement and helping like really vamp up our ambassador program. So those are just a few little things that we had really good successes with. I think though, I have to say our biggest successes and highlights of the last year have been all of you. Showing up still, even though maybe your administrations weren't letting you have in-person meetings, and you guys still found a way to make matches, to, spend time with your buddies, to support Best Buddies, support the IDD community. Our jobs participants, guys, have been working all this time. We've had more placements, I think, in North Texas and in Houston in the last 6 months than I think we've ever had in our jobs, like all in like such a short period of time. So they're still out there, going to work every day. You guys have still been there supporting us, and you are really our biggest success. So thank you so much for showing up for us and for our participants every day. And I'm going to, I think, send it over to Jessica.
Kim, thank you. Hi, everybody in Texas. So excited that you are here today to speak with everyone in Best Buddies Texas, as well as our opening ceremonies, and that you're here for Best Buddies Leadership Conference. I am our Director of Programs. As Linda mentioned, I've been here a very long time. And one of the things that I've seen over the course of 11 years is how our 3 pillars, friendship, leadership, and jobs, can work together so seamlessly to follow our participants both with and without IDD throughout the course of their life. We have elementary school programs all the way through college programs. We're doing some really great things with adult friendships. You met some of our folks that are matched up in North Texas. We have our leadership pillar, which includes the ambassadors program, but all other types of leadership opportunities for our students, adult participants with and without IDD. And then we have our jobs program, which really closes the loop. So one thing that I encourage you guys as student leaders and leaders in the community is to start thinking about having very high expectations for all of our participants with IDD and for yourself. The idea of our jobs program is that anybody can work, and that work should be the first and best option for young people coming out of school. It's what I did. It's what most of you guys are going to do if you don't go to finish on with your education, or when you do, you get a job. So that's the great thing about our programs, is that they go one to another and create this life cycle. So if you haven't already started talking to your buddies about getting a job, what are they going to do when they graduate, as you're working on applications for college and you are volunteering or working or building your resume, talk to them, invite them to go to volunteer opportunities for you and gain new leadership opportunities. Let's challenge everybody to think really big about what people with IDD can do. So speaking of our leadership pillar, there's more on ambassadors coming up, but I want to remind everybody that ambassadors is, again, not just our students or our participants with IDD, but it's everyone. So if you are a student leader, if you're a board member, if you're an employer, parent, teacher, principal, you can become an ambassador, learn the mission, learn how to share about our mission of inclusion and changing lives for people with disabilities, and then go out into the community to share that message. And there's also a path to becoming or growing in our leadership program. You could be a local ambassador, a state ambassador, and beyond. So that's what I'm most excited about today and tomorrow and these coming days, is helping you guys make the connections between all 3 of our pillars. And we've made a huge impact in Texas, and I can't wait for you to hear more about that. Thomas Moore, our amazing Deputy Director of Operations, can tell you more about that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Thomas Moore, Deputy Director of Operations. I do a lot of behind the scenes things, kind of help all the program managers and everyone else really focus on implementing the mission. Earlier, Allie had mentioned that we are in 56 countries, 50 states. I want to give you some details locally. Best Buddies has been in Texas since the early 90s, so about 30 years. We're currently in 19 counties and 46 cities across the state, which seems small when you think about Texas, but compared to pretty much any other state, we've got them beat on the number of counties and cities. And we get inquiries pretty much every day from all across the state. So still a lot of potential for more growth. And we're really hoping with this new staff, we will see that coming really soon. I'm going to pass it on to Linda.
Thanks so much, Thomas. So apparently we have a lot to say, and we were trying to keep on track here for everyone. At this point, I would just like to thank my leadership team, thank everybody who's on here. And if you have ideas about what you would like to do or like to see Best Buddies do in the coming year, would you add that to the chat? We have great ideas for engagement now that we can be back in person. Our board member, Chris Bolt, has brought us to and connected us to Taekwondo America, which is an amazing organization and an amazing opportunity for activities for buddy pairs. So we've had a pilot program already in Grapevine. We've got 7 other locations in North Texas, a location in Katy. So we're looking to implement that this year as an example of a new activity and a partnership with an amazing organization. So if you have ideas that you'd like to see Best Buddies do this coming year, go ahead and throw it in the chat, send us an email. And we are all about doing things big in Texas. We like to pilot things in Texas, and this is certainly one of those opportunities. So with no further ado, let's turn this over to the programs team. I'm happy to introduce our jobs program at this time.
Hi guys, my name is Casey Rankin. So happy to be here with you all today. So happy to see so many familiar faces and to be here to talk to you about the jobs program. So I know since we met last year, things were very kind of questionable what was going on, but I can say the Texas jobs team was super lucky to have lost very minimal placements during COVID, most of them coming out of, like oil and gas and stuff like that. You guys know how that is. But since then, we have grown our programs. Cheyenne and Waxahachie has really taken off at Daymark, and we're hiring for a new employment consultant down here in Houston. So I just kind of wanted to go through what some of the requirements were. So if you guys aren't too familiar with the program, what it takes to really get involved. First and foremost, you have to have a primary diagnosis of intellectual or developmental disability and have a desire to work in the community. Have a valid license that you can work in the United States and have travel transportation. So those are really the only things that you need to get started with our jobs program. And also since last year, I can say we have really diversified where we're getting our referrals from. I swear they're coming out of the woodworks like every single day. I think the whole jobs team can agree with me. But since then, we're working with the Texas Workforce Commission, which is where most of our referrals are coming from. But we're also working with AmeriGroup up in North Texas, as well as Berry Family Services to offer job coaching and placement services. And then for those of you up in North Texas, you've probably heard of Vanguard Preparatory School, where Lyndsey and Sergio are working in classroom settings and working to teach students just the different types of skills that they'll need to get into the workplace. So it's kind of like a pre-work. And then also Cheyenne in Waxahachie has really gotten the ball rolling with Daymark Living now that the pandemic is kind of easing out. She's been able to place more people and bring people into the jobs program. And then one of the things that I'm most excited about is since the jobs program has been around for almost 5 years now in Texas, our participants that we were originally placing are coming back to us and telling us they want full-time jobs. So we've been working with them to enroll in the Ticket to Work program, which is allowing them to kind of ease off their government benefits without, just completely cutting the cord. So we're really excited about that. And then we're also getting into the HCS services, so home and community-based living services, so that we can offer long-term support to our participants so that they can keep growing in their careers. And then I'm going to pass it off to Lyndsey Astorga up in Dallas, and she's going to tell you how we prepare our participants to get a job.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much, Casey. So after the referral process, we jump right into these job development activities with participants and employers. Generally, we meet for a few meetings to get to know the participant and really evaluate their skills, as well as define what their employment goal is, how many hours they want. Do they want part-time, full-time, the location, and how far they're willing to travel? And then once those goals have been identified, we jump right into the activities needed to find a job. So the resume, cover letter, how to search for a job. Everything is virtual now. Typically, you look for any job on lots of platforms. And so we're teaching our participants how to use those platforms and also what kind of almost employment red flags to look for, not looking for anything that's temporary or a remote, depending on that kind of verbiage, making our participants know that to follow exactly what they want and how to identify that. Once we go through that whole job searching process, we are assisting our participants with interview training, possibly doing mock interviews if needed. And then once they have their interviews, typically we follow up with the employer and thank them for offering that opportunity, really making sure that the participant is part of the process and leading the way the entire time. Aside from the participants, we're also doing activities with employers. So connecting with prospective employers that, have been connected to us through our constituents, or we might just be cold calling because we've identified something about the organization or company that would be a great asset for us, or our participants would be a great asset for them. After the participants are employed, Sergio jumps in for the job coaching aspect, and he's going to share a little bit more about that.
Can y'all hear me all right? Let's see. Okay. Is the camera? Okay. Yeah, like Lyndsey said, my name is Sergio, everyone. I'm an employment consultant here at Best Buddies. And what I essentially do is I travel to participants' job sites regularly to provide job coaching. And this involves providing instruction, training, and ongoing support to the participant. For instance, Lyndsey, who just spoke, was able to connect a participant with our employment partners at Advanced Auto Parts about a month ago. And so once that participant started working there, I became involved to provide the job coaching. In this situation, the participant was guided through trainings, and I was essentially there to ensure that those tasks were being given to the participant, and they were understood by the participant and ultimately performed successfully by the participant. And so another part of my role is that I stay in regular communication with the employers and the supervisors of the participant, and that's essentially to ensure that the participant is receiving equal treatment as an employee. And so when it comes to career advancement side of things, which is another duty of mine, is where we help participants set new goals for themselves in the workplace. And these goals can be anything from learning new work tasks to gaining more responsibility. And the goal could be even oriented around gaining a promotion at work. And these goals would, of course, have to align with SMART goals, which I'm sure some of you have heard of before, which essentially stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And these goals are ultimately agreed upon by all parties involved. So it would be me involved, the participant, and then the participant supervisor would all get together and really assess what these goals should be. And this is done to ensure the growth, ensure the individual's growth, which ultimately sets them up for success in the workplace. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Cheyenne Jock, who is going to talk about her role and about employment and independent living.
Hi, everybody. I am Cheyenne, and I'm an employment consultant with the North Texas team, and I'm located in Waxahachie. So we launched the program in Waxahachie a year ago, and we have big things planned. But just like the rest of the jobs team here, my job is to help people find jobs that will meet their needs and meet their goals. Them prepared to go to work before they get the job, and then I help them maintain the job afterwards. So how this ties into independent living, we don't have an independent living pillar in Texas yet, but what I have found working with people who are looking for jobs is that's not the only goal. A lot of people think about what it means to live independently. They think about, what support you'll need to have in place. How much is it going to cost? What's the social aspect going to be when you're not living with your family or with roommates anymore? So the jobs
program really has, it lays the foundation for you to accomplish all of those other goals. So not only does it give you financial independence, but our team is also working with people to help them develop a budget, figure out how much money they do need. We talk about programs like the Ticket to Work program and offer other resources when it comes to benefits like Casey was mentioning. So we are kind of laying the foundation, because when you have a job, you can start to reach all of those other goals. So I have been working at Daymark for for a year now. I just had my anniversary. And if you're not familiar with Daymark, they are an assisted living facility for people with disabilities. And it is, you walk onto campus and it is like a resort. I mean, state-of-the-art amenities and accommodations. It's absolutely beautiful. But even with all of those beautiful things that they have to offer, something that I've learned is that no amount of accommodations or resort-like amenities can take the place of living on your own. And a lot of my participants, that is their goal, is to rent an apartment or buy a house one day and live on their own. So helping them find a job is really that first step to establishing that independent factor. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to our leadership pillar with Joaquin and Victoria.
Hi, thanks, Cheyenne. So myself and Victoria Jones, program managers of community engagement, one of the things that we do is manage the ambassador program. And that program provides trainings to participants with and without IDD of various ages and locations, because we are large states, not just in North Texas and Houston, and soon to be Central Texas. So these trainings focus on speech writing, public speaking, and self-advocacy, and advocacy for the IDD community at large. Also, the skills that they learn help them grow professionally and allow them to share their life stories and promote Best Buddies, our programs, network with other individuals and companies, and most importantly, again, advocate. So it's through all of these things that they are then able to accompany us to meetings and social gathering events, things of that nature, so that they can practice all of these skills that they've learned, and also speak on their experiences, not only in the ambassador program underneath the leadership pillar, but also of any other program that they're a part of, like the friendship program or the jobs program. Besides that, we do handle our ambassadors in specific ways, and going forward, we'll be handling them in a different way. And for that, I'm going to pass it over to Victoria.
Yeah, so as far as managing the programs or the ambassador program, Joaquin and I work together as a team. So he obviously handles the North Texas region, and then I am in the Houston, Texas region. So we are the main points of contact for both of those. But then as far as just handling different types of ambassadors, Joaquin runs the adult ambassador program, and I do more school-aged ambassadors, just because we feel like it caters to the interests of those ambassadors to have trainings that are more age appropriate. But we are expanding a little bit and, reworking the ambassador program, as Jessica mentioned earlier. So we wanted to kind of explain that a little bit, because we think it's going to help us and benefit our ambassadors in the future, just as far as their leadership development. So essentially what we're going to be doing is establishing different types of ambassadors and creating different levels of involvement for each of those. So anyone that joins the ambassador program will essentially fall under a certain category and have different roles and responsibilities within each. So this way we can do, as Joaquin mentioned, we like to cater to the interests of each of our ambassadors as everyone joins the program for different reasons. This way that they can grow and, highlight the goals of each of them individually, and not just kind of group them all in together, because every leader does look a little bit different. So I think that this is going to help us understand what their roles are as individual leaders, and then help them grow, not just within the ambassador program, but, in other aspects of, the leadership pillar, on advisory boards in their communities. And it's going to create more of an atmosphere for development for them to grow. And then also, as Jessica mentioned previously, we are wanting to put a little bit more focus on our ambassadors without IDD, because the ambassador program is open to those with and without IDD. And I don't think a lot of people actually know that. So we are wanting to promote that more, as there is a growing interest for people without IDD to join the ambassador program. And there's definitely a need for more representation in that area, so that, you know, people with and without IDD can learn from one another. So that is kind of our plan for the ambassador program moving forward. And we're really excited about it. And we've been working on it, and actually just had a presentation on it with our Texas staff. So we're really excited to share that with everyone. And now I think I'm passing it over to Courtney, the friendship pillar.
Hey, Victoria, actually, it will be me, and I'll be talking about a couple of our additional leadership programs here. So I did want to do a quick just plug for our student advisory board. So if you guys haven't heard of the SAB, I would like to call it, or the SAB, that is a small group of our awesome chapter leaders. So we like to call them like the cream of the crop of our student leaders. It's a group of 8 to 10 students, and we have one in Houston and North Texas. And we meet just like the general Best Buddies Advisory Board. So this past year we met virtually, and we're really excited to move back to those in-person meetings this fall. So just keep an eye out on an email from me to all of our chapter leaders if you guys are interested in joining our student advisory board. We have an application process as well as an interview process where we go and select our students. So more information to come, but it's a fantastic opportunity. If you're a chapter leader or an ambassador and you're looking to grow your leadership skills and kind of serve as the voice of all of our students, we like to say that you serve as the liaison between our Best Buddies students and the staff. Each year we work on different initiatives. Like our students started a student blog with a bunch of different resources and have worked to kind of bridge connections between chapters. So a lot of really exciting and amazing things. So just keeping an eye out for more information to our chapter leaders and our students and ambassadors. So really briefly, I'm going to also turn it over to some of our amazing students here in Texas that serve on the Young Leaders Council, and they'll be able to tell you much more about that. So I'll pass it off to Garrett, Tanya, and Zach.
Hello, my name is Garrett. I am a student at Texas A&M, and I am the chair for the Young Leaders Council. Just to give you a quick rundown on what the council is, it's basically everything that Allie described as a SAB, just on a national scale. We do stuff from social media to recently I just wrapped up a project proposal from our vice president, David Quillen, and he had asked the council to create a project basically to figure out how we can increase the number of HBCU schools. So that's historically Black colleges and universities. So that's a really cool project that we just actually wrapped up, and we're actually just giving that to David as like a policy proposal. And we'll work back and forth with him in the next couple weeks. But Tanya and Zach, did y'all want to introduce yourselves?
Yes, perfect. I'll go first, Zach. So my name's Tanya. I'm an incoming freshman at UT Austin, and I'm also a second-year member on the YLC. I know Allie wanted us to talk a little bit about our journeys like to the YLC, just because all of y'all are chapter leaders. So I started off at Seven Lakes High School, and I was the freshman ambassador there, and I kind of grew in my like roles throughout there. So I became chapter president my junior year, and then I also started with Allie the SABs in Houston. So that was a really great way for me to kind of get started. And with that, that spring, I ended up joining the YLC. So if you are interested in having like a greater leadership role in Best Buddies, not just in your school chapter, I would definitely look to join the SABs because they really prepare you for everything on the YLC. So yeah, Zach.
Hey y'all, my name is Zach. I am originally from Dallas, a suburb called Plano, if any of y'all have heard of it. I am a sophomore currently at the University of Texas. I'm also a part of the Best Buddies chapter there. And just like Tanya, I want to talk a little bit about my journey to the YLC. I'm a first-year member here on the council, but I've actually been involved with Best Buddies for about 7 years now. So it definitely was a long time in the making. It's really cool with the YLC that you don't necessarily have to go from being a chapter leader, jumping right into the YLC. You can wait a couple of years and apply whenever that you're ready. We definitely do a lot of recruitment in the spring. my best advice to the any future members who are interested in joining the YLC is definitely just become very well-rounded, do all of the wonderful things and continue to do them in Best Buddies, and those will really show through if you're selected. The YLC is a great opportunity to be able to put your ideas into fruition. You can see things change on a grand scale across the United States and the world. And I'm really lucky to have the opportunity to be serving with 2 other wonderful Texas representatives on the YLC. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me and where I'm from. So I'll pass it back to you, Garrett.
Okay, so I forgot to let y'all know of my path of leadership. Tanya and Zach remind me of that. So my path of leadership was very similar to Zach and Tanya's. I started as a chapter president, applied after my senior year, and then made it to the council. But before chapter president, I was a member and a vice president for my chapter at College Park. And then after I joined the council, I joined the chapter at Texas A&M. Like Zach and Tanya said, I definitely recommend if you're wanting to take that next step in your leadership journey within Best Buddies, definitely consider the SAB. And if you are really striving for the stars, to apply for the YLC. These are great opportunities. If you make it to the council, you're working with people not just across your state, but across the country, and now in 2 different countries, because we have 2 participants from Canada now. It's a really cool, unique opportunity, and I would recommend it to anybody and everyone. Thank you so much, Allie, for giving us this platform.
Yes, thank you guys so much. We, like the entire Texas staff, is so proud of all of you guys, and we love having so many representatives on the YLC. So thank you guys so much. And to all of our student leaders on here, we will definitely be hearing more from our YLC members as we move into our trainings in the fall. So you'll definitely get to interact and talk with them more, but I definitely encourage, if you guys are wanting to join the SAB or the YLC, definitely reach out to Garrett and Tanya and Zach, and they'd love to share their expertise. So thank you guys. Now I'm going to pass it off to Courtney.
Hi everyone, thanks Allie. So I am going to be talking more about how we are expanding across the entire state with our friendship program. So over this past year, we have really been able to reach a lot of really amazing schools across, all areas of the state. So we have been able to open Strike Jesuit High School in Houston, Tavola Elementary School in New Caney, Boyer Elementary School in Prosper, and we are constantly doing outreach to bring more schools into Best Buddies and to promote our mission throughout all the communities, whether it be an elementary school, middle school, high school, college, or university, and even in the community with our citizens chapters. So looking forward to this fall, we are already so excited with an influx of really awesome schools and a lot of schools that are gearing up to open as active chapters. So just to kind of show where we are expanding in the state, we're working really closely with Fort Worth ISD to open 12 new chapters, which is really exciting. We have schools in Aldine and Round Rock and Frisco, Wiley, Katy, Pasadena, Waxahachie, and Denton that are all right on the cusp of opening, and they will be active chapters once the school year starts. So it's really great that we are able to have our hands in all of the communities throughout the state and not just in our metroplexes. So if you have any friends or family members that attend a school or are in the community, or are teachers that don't have Best Buddies, please send them our way. We really would love to be able to go out and chat with them. Anybody on our programs team, and really anybody on our staff is so willing to be able to connect with those individuals in the community to tell them about Best Buddies so that we can continue to expand all of our programs, not just our friendship program. And outside of, expanding our programs, we're also expanding our team. So I'm really excited to be able to pass it over to our new summer intern, Bobby, to introduce himself.
All right. Hello, y'all. My name is Bobby. I'm the summer intern at Best Buddies Texas. Super excited to be working with this team this summer. I'm from Massachusetts and I go to Loyola University, Maryland. So I'm not actually from Texas, although I've been there a couple of times. But I'm really excited to learn more about all of you and the Best Buddies Texas program this summer. I've been a part of this inclusive movement for nearly 10 years now in many different capacities. And in high school, I was the founding chapter president of our brand new Best Buddies chapter at my high school. So it was really fun. I have a lot of different experience in this area. I'm going to put my email in the chat after I'm done talking so that if anyone wants to connect, I'd love to talk to you about like my process of starting a chapter and what we did. And with that, I feel like my biggest piece of advice for this conference is to take advantage of every opportunity you're given. Even though we're socially distant and online, we are not socially disconnected. So especially for our student leaders in the call, definitely reach out to other student leaders, connect, and try and form those bonds because you're going to learn so much from each other and it'll definitely help you throughout your year. So enjoy the conference. It's great being here with you and thank you for letting me speak.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bobby. And we really wanted Bobby to have the opportunity to introduce himself to you guys because you guys might be getting some emails or text messages from Bobby to our chapter leaders especially. So just wanted to introduce you guys to Bobby. We're so excited to have him on board with us remotely this summer. So we are just about to wrap up here. I did just want to speak a little bit about what this fall is going to look like and what this new school year is going to look like. And it's crazy to think back to a year ago when we were just so uncertain about everything. And I know that it was not an easy time to be a chapter leader. So it's really exciting to be moving into a new space where we can get back to some in-person social events. And we're so excited about that. But I just wanted to emphasize that this year we will still be embracing the statewide approach of we are one big Texas family. So we're not just Houston, we're not just Dallas or North Texas. We will be still doing so many great trainings that are going to be available statewide. So if you guys are in anywhere in Central Texas, we've got chapters in Abilene and in Lubbock. We will still be pursuing all of those wonderful avenues that we did this year in terms of training and making sure that you guys are equipped and prepared and that we are working together as a state. And that especially goes for our programs team. So you guys have heard from myself and Victoria and Joaquin, and we'll still be, working together as one big team to help you guys and support you guys and give you guys additional resources. So even if I am your specific program manager, you'll be hearing from Victoria or Joaquin or our leadership team this year. So just if you guys need anything at all, please feel free to reach out to myself and literally any member of this team would be happy to help answer questions or support you in what you're looking for. So really excited about this year. It's 11:56 and our opening ceremonies is going to kick off here in about 4 minutes. So make sure that you guys have been logged into the virtual platform for BBLC. That's where you're going to get all of the links to each of the sessions. So there'll be a link. Some of the sessions are held on like Facebook Live, some are held on Zoom. So it's just going to depend what session it is. So just make sure that you're getting those links through the platform and you can access the platform directly from the email that you got with your login information, or you can type in, copy and paste the URL that I just sent, and that's going to get you logged into the platform. So if you guys have any technical issues, please reach out. I know a lot of our chapter leaders are on Remind, so you can reach out to Remind or through email to your primary staff contact. So whether you're a jobs participant, reach out to your jobs coach, or ambassadors, reach out to Victoria and Joaquin. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for joining us today and helping us kick off BBLC 2021. So I hope you guys enjoy the conference, and like Bobby said, just take advantage of all of the opportunities that you guys have to connect with other people from across the globe. And I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much.